Facebook. Hello, YouTube. Good morning. It is New Year's Eve. It is the day before January 1st, 2023. For the record, today I'm talking about a playground for full power for 2023. A playground for full power for 2023. So, um, you may or may not be, mm, you know, who knows, right? I know lots of folks, including myself, are, especially over 40. You're just looking at your time, your time. And hopefully, it is in your interest to look at. Oh, pardon me. Wordless, wordless, wordless. That's what's been coming up a lot. Where do you get to play? So, the parts of you that feel scared, that feel like a little girl, that feel incomplete, that feel shame, that feel you want to play, you want to have fun, you want to have fun, you want to have sexual fun, you want to have travel fun, you want to talk about, you know, bad things or like, ugh, right? Um, and the place to actually do that as a means to full power, okay? Um, you can do it unconsciously with your girlfriends who just want to shoot the shit, right? Because they want something to do. And um, but what erotic is about, I've been sitting with it and talking about it and got it written up and read and like really being internal about it. And it's an opportunity for you to come up on your edges in a fun way. See, as women, we are who we are because who we are today is a culmination of how we were raised, what we have pushed down because we were told is not okay about us, and what's acceptable in the relationships that we're in, whether, boyfriend, husband, girlfriends, children. You know what is and is not allowed with your husband. You know what you can and can't talk about with your kids. You know what you can and cannot do with those people. And you might have moments where you want to push the envelope in those relationships to see what you can talk about, if y'all can do something new, uh, to the degree to which you can change something. Say hi to me on Facebook. Hey, y'all. Um, and erotic is really, I want to be clear about this. It's for women who are really large energetically, like you. And then, but beyond that, because there's a lot of women who are very large, but beyond that, as much as you would like to calm down and like be normal, and as much as you have tried, as much as you have even been like a lot of women who go through certain phases or Like, for here's one really good example. Like 5 years ago, if a dude was just, I could be around him in an easy way. We can enjoy simple things like a meal and, doing simple social things. And like I was physically attracted to him and we could have simple conversations. That was enough. Like we could have sex. I never saw them as somebody to be with in the future. Um, and I could do that with great awareness that he doesn't know me. He may not want me to know him in that way. We have a simple relationship. We like each other in basic ways. We have good sex. And that's it. And I could drink heavily. You know what I mean? I could do coke. Shit. I could do coke. I could spend a little bit more time than normal around basic people, people who are not very active in their thinking and deliberate about their lives, who live very much shadow lives. I could just, and I could do that. And not there's ways I could like not like it, but I could tolerate it still for extended periods of time, especially the drinking. Like I was drinking a lot. Um, and today is horny. My sex drive is ooh, honey. Okay. And as easy as it is for me to have a roster of men to be sleeping with, I could go like it's not, I'm an attractive woman and I know men in that way, in that basic way, right? The play, the real play for big women, where none of the stuff that is good enough for everybody else is not good enough for us. Um, and I want to speak to something else too. Women who have really been through some wicked shit. Hi, Reggie. Women who have really, like, you've made some hard, painful decisions that did not align with the status quo. Good to see you too, Reggie. And the fine distinction that I've talked about on this channel many times over the years, there's a way that even I didn't hold that as a standard for clients. I didn't hold that as a standard fully in my decision making for myself. And I realized, really realized with the energy of the last, coming into 2023, that the part of the reason why we have lived and have come to be who we are today is because the world does not respect us. The world does not. We are the problems in the world. We are the ones whose people's vitriol and skepticism is activated in our presence. Their doubt, their fears activated in our present because we represent everything that a woman has been conditioned not to be. And it has been extremely difficult for me to hold the line with myself, with just what's true in me. Like as much as I've tried to like be normal or just like settle down inside of like a normal situation, you know what I mean? Even when I've had all the really good things that normal people are really happy with, like that they can tolerate, even if they're like, this is mundane. I know there's more, but they can tolerate, like they can stay. And what I find with the women who I'm working with, which is not, most women are not, and this is not, I'm just telling y'all, the data has proven itself time and time again, no matter how I want to be like, generally speaking, women, no matter how much I want to be like, you know, this kumbaya, we're all the same. We're not. And the more intimately I work with women, and the more I really rest in what is true with me without trying to meet her where she is, right? Because that's her reality. It really is certain women. And so okay, so big energy women, large women, large women, large, talking about energetically large, um, who your soul just will not, you need somewhere to really play. You need somewhere where there are no rules. The only rules is respect for what's true to you and a dogged commitment to facing your shadow. Because your shadow will swallow the fuck out of you and have you living it out. Okay. You really need a place where pure, true love, like somebody who can really see you. Man, I was in a program before, a coaching program with this coach who is good. She's really good. This is what I mean about good is not good enough for us. Good is not good enough. A nice relationship, just like a nice relationship where, yeah, love is there, and that is not enough. You need a relationship where you can actually be who you are, really grow and develop into the nuanced elements of yourself. You are something else. You are something else. Um, ah, I was like really meditating with this last night, and it's like it's new. It's like it's new to the world. So anyway, the sort of like difficulty that I'm having right now in it is I feel like I'm the only one who's really bringing this forth for real, like respecting it. Um, who's black? Maybe I should say that, who's black, because I think there are. Well, I know there are white women who are doing their part, who are, in a peripheral way doing similar work. Um, and even they are like, it's like they feel so lonely in their work. And these are women, one I know is married, um, one is single, and has children, and um, and they're not black. Um, and then the black women I know, who I know are at this level of power, um, like I'm the only one who know them in this way, you know? And the other people who do ostracize them, tell them they're too much. Um, they are with their spouses. Two of them have spouses, uh, but one of them, she's very well aware that she's not going to come into her full power married to that man. The other one is, she's doing her work right now, so it's going to be interesting to watch how she matures, and what happens in her marriage if her husband also comes into his power more, because he's a shaman. Like there's so much there for them to create, and that's exciting. Um, but part of why we are not coming into our power is because we're alone, and it's really hard to come into your power. And when I say alone, I mean they don't even have a me. The many women around the world who don't even know that I exist, because that helps with the process, with even coming to a place where you start to deal with men. Because so many of us, we continue to deal with men in these shallow ways because of who we are, and because there's a way. What I'm realizing in myself now is there's such an ownership of who we are that's required. Um, And let me speak to that right there. And that's what erotic is for. So the ownership from where I am now looks and feels like, it's such a responsibility that has no wiggle room. It's a responsibility that has zero wiggle room. That's the like most immediate way I could say it. Responsibility for who you really are, responsibility for your real feelings, responsibility for your true hungers. Hi, Kimberly. Like true hungers, your sexual hungers, your material hungers, your soul hungers, um, and walking in that, talking in that, being in that. And then obviously getting out there connecting with men. Because many of us, myself included, um, um, uh, I'd say the last 2 months, I haven't even been very socially active. 2 months prior to that, I was socially active. And I was doing lots of unconscious work over the summer. I did some videos here about Carl Jung work. And so, oh, speaking of, so here's a really good example. Here's a really good example of needing a playground that has no rules, because we've already unconsciously taken on so many of the rules that we don't even realize we've taken on. It's so unconscious, we wear it, and that's what prohibits us from taking full responsibility. Because in order for you to take responsibility of a thing, you have to be aware of it, conscious of, I'm taking responsibility for this. But if there's an unconscious rule that you're walking around wearing that you don't even know you're wearing, then the responsibility that's needed for you to come into the power that you're looking for, you see how layered this is? To come into the power that you're looking for, to magnetize whatever it is that's needed for you to magnetize. I think my camera is kind of cloudy on Facebook. Sorry about that. Um, so this is why erotic is so important. Our playground is so important, even for me. So Carl Jung, I think he's a really good example. And see, here's another thing. So when I read this about Carl Jung, I was like, see, I knew it. I knew it. The things that you know that you don't currently have real world evidence for, the playground is your maturing space to really start to respect that. I'm really realizing it's just so deep and profound, you guys. And I love you. I love me. I love us so much. I'm just coming into my awareness of myself is such a loving act. It is such a loving, self-loving act to come, because it's like so many things that I have known for years. And it's like, but I don't see anybody else doing it. But nobody else is talking about it. And then when I like start talking about it, people like shut it down. And so then I just go back inside myself, and then I try to just like get along with what is here. And it has never, ever, ever, ever worked. And so before I found this out about Carl Jung, I would think things like, the man who I'm supposed to be with is married to the wrong woman. I know it. He's married to the wrong woman. Like, I would think shit like this. I would think shit like, if he is married to um the wrong woman, he doesn't know it, or maybe he does. He does, or he doesn't know. He's trapped. Um and if I need to be his lover for us to do the work that we need to do, I'll be his lover, because I'm really committed to my work and really doing what I came here for. And as I have met men, like men who are, particularly who have kids, and they're right, that changes things in the relationship. And I'm like, he's with the wrong woman. You ever see a man and he's with a woman and you're like, how is he with her? How does that even work? Right. And he's locked in there. Or you'll meet a man who you can just see that you're like, I could just see a man and I could be like, how is he living? Like, how? And I'd be like, it's because something with his mother or something with, and then I'll start talking to him, and lo and behold, something happened. A whole storyline will come up with his mother. Um, but as it relates to Carl Jung, so I've known of Carl Jung and I've read about him just surface level over the last few years, particularly as it relates to shadow work. And most people only know Carl Jung like that. They only know him because of his work with shadow work. Like, that's his gift to the world. Like, a lot of us, you only know about shadow work because of Carl Jung. You only know about the unconscious because of Carl Jung, and the anima and the the anima and the two, the masculine and the man and woman, masculine and feminine inside of each male and female. You only know about um basically his whole body of work that he's brought forth to the world, that you benefit from, that I benefit from, that the psychology industry benefits from, that so many benefit from because of Carl Jung. But do you know that the work that everybody loves and benefits from, that the world praises, came forth because Carl Jung went deep into the unconscious with women that were not his wife? That his wife said, is quoted as saying, that his lovers have said, that is quoted as saying, that his he has said, that is quoted as saying, that he was going into like a psychosis, like losing his mind. And he was like doing unconscious work for 3 years, I think, maybe longer. 3 years. And he had multiple lovers while he was married. I just came across this over the summer. I'm getting to a point. This is what I mean by the world. The world is toxic poison. The whole fucking world is toxic poison. And one of his longest lover, meaning they were lovers until she died, was her name was Tony, I think was her name. And his wife was quoted as saying, "What Tony did, I could not have done." Her availability, her presence, who she was as a woman, I could not do that to help him uncover this work, because he went dark. He went dark. The unconscious is dark. Carl Jung went dark for years, and Tony was one of his lovers, and he had other lovers. Many of them were his clients. Now today, that would, oh my God, shame is, right? This is how we're so wrapped up in, right? And I get why people are like this. But when something is beating through you, like it doesn't quit. Just because you go give your life to God, don't mean it go away. If it's really in you since birth, it doesn't go away. Just because you go get married and try to hide behind a man, just because you go and go do all these things to get it up out of you, to pray it out of you, and go meditate and fast and work and try to use your mental force, strength, and merit, visioning and visualizing and meditating to get it out of you. If it's in you at birth, it don't go away. That's the point. You are meant to bring it forth. I have wasted so much of my life hoping things would go away. Calm it down. Go travel. Go find joy. Go green juice it away. Go meditate. Go inside of this coaching program with this coach who has great power and force. Force. She's made for that. She's born for that. In this unconscious work, where he was able to be like down at, like, the real world is the dream world. As within, so without. Not as without, so within. As within, so without. The world is a manifestation of what is in. The shadow elements of you that want to be a victim, that want to be a villain, is as with those are repressed parts of your real self. The parts of you that want to be fucked hard, the parts of you that want to be treated like a princess, but maybe you feel shame about it. The parts of you that want to dominate and control and sit on a nigga face and make him do shit. And that's part of your real repressed self. The only reason why it's a shadow is because it's socially unacceptable. Like all of these things that you keep quiet, that you keep hidden, that's part of your real self, because the collective has said it's wrong. Why? Because the collective have been beaten into religion, beaten into submission to accept ways of living and being. This is not real. This what you looking at her, it's not real. It's full of lies. And when you are born where you just can't accept it, where you are true rebellion, not because you're trying to rebel against your mother's rules and you trying to rebel against society, but it's actually who you are. Like even when you're poor, it's who you are. Even when you have money, it's who you are. It's really who you are. This is who erotic is for. The people who can tolerate not bringing they what they made for, that's a different breed. This is what I mean about the fine nuance. As much as I have wanted to, I remember I used to be like, why can't I just wrong question. Wrong question. No matter how much. And so with Carl Jung doing this very wrong thing, sleeping with other women, lovers, what? Or he with a woman that's like, if his woman would have been like, no, no, what are people gonna think? No, um, the vows say forever and ever, and just single one woman, and all one, that nigga would have went really mad. That nigga would have went because it was in him. Because when you read his story, it was in him all along. He wasn't some dude who just read some spirituality books who was looking for meaning in his life and decided to go, study under a master. And no, I'm talking about people it's been in them since birth. Most people they've read spirituality books, they've maybe studied for 10 years with a master. They did, you know, and they got it good and they can teach it good and they when it's in you the way I'm talking about, which is who erotic is for, which is only for a small few. It's not even it's not for a lot of women. For a lot of women who are great women, who are good spiritual women, we could talk about that. Just normal, good spiritual women who know all the typical new age spiritual stuff, who know very good with all the spiritual stuff. They're great people, they're great wives, they're great homemakers, they're great, they're great, they're good. Like this is what I mean by it was time for me to respect this. It was time for me to respect and really that fine separation. It's a fine separation. It's not evident because if you put it's like powerful women, generally speaking, yes, we all can create human life, and we are not the same. All men have sperm. All men are not the same. And I mean this in a fine, highly spiritual way. That's who erotic is for. Um, so I'd like to start, um, having these conversations more, really getting into, the respect of it, the true respect of it. Um, like the multitude of books and essays that Carl Jung has written, the fine nuance, even his books, if you read his book, the fine nuance and understanding of psychology, the dream world, interpreting dreams. I interpreted a dream over the summer the Carl Jung way. When I'm telling you, I couldn't even get out of bed. I just needed to lay down with it. It was so profound and nuanced. And I did a whole ritual when I finally did get out of bed because it was so dense, dense with meaning and understanding and clarity. It was just so the great awareness of mother, the great all out of a dream that I sat down and interpreted and wrote down and looked at all the nuance and this symbology and allowed myself to go deeper, 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 deeper. Your deep self is the real world. This shit out here, your deep self is the real world. And I did a whole ritual after I finally was able to get up out the bed, and I danced and I sang and I did a audio recording and I lit a candle and just to really cement it in my consciousness. Like the right how it's here now as I'm talking with you. Um, People will get the fuck in line too. People will get the fuck in. I mean, like the things you do out in the real world. There's levels to this. Levels to this. People you deal with, you got to go to the grocery or not. Maybe not if you do online shopping, but the things you do if you go to the grocery store, or all these places you go and you deal with people, and in your business. Okay, if you having problems in your business, relationship type problems, you're not respecting who you are. There's a respect for the fine nuance of you and your whole commitment to that. Complete, pristine commitment, which means you're with yourself, the standards are pristine, has zero to do with other people and everything to do with yourself. Meaning you're constantly checking. This is what I mean by the high responsibility of it. Thank you, Kimberly. Constantly checking yourself. Constantly checking yourself. And so erotic is a year-long transformational playground for the woman who I'm describing here. There's no rules except for you respecting you, you checking yourself every single step along the way. Checking meaning looking at, is this a shadow part of you talking? Is this the little girl in you talking? Is this the voracious desire in you? Like when you do that, you're so present with yourself, you can really hold yourself accountable in your relationships, whether you're like married, whether you're, work, opening yourself up now to really connecting with men purely, whatever your status, being visible, dealing with people who don't know who you are, right? So you're gonna when you come out onto the world stage, you're teaching them who you are by your quality of being, and that you have the playground to come to be messy, to be like, oh, all the shit that you need to go to, all the feelings, all the feeling insecure. Like you need to be able to feel these things and get to the other side of them. You cannot sit in insecurity and just stay there. You have to come forth out of breath, unsure. But I'm unsure, like like a because deep down you are sure, but the unsurety comes up here. This is what I mean by this is fake. This is fake. The cloudiness of your thinking and your judgment is fake. Who you are deep down is real. Deep down, underneath the shadow, underneath the shame, underneath. And so the playground allows you, because a big part of the playground is being in high level relationships, high level support, high levels. This is the highest. This is the real home. And me really holding that standard, like this, it's time for the respect. That respect. That's the only thing that's required is the respect. There's no rules. There's no rules. And when I say that, you need to understand that there's certain things you just gotta know, like keeping your word. Like you just gotta know shit. Some shit is just wordless. You just gotta know certain things, you know? Gosh, it's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming. The world does not love us. It does not care about us. It does not have the capacity to see us. And I've gotten that completely this year. When you get that, you'll no longer seek for everybody to see you. You'll no longer seek for people to understand you. You'll see why people stay away from you. You'll get it. You'll be totally okay with it. Why? And then, but not only that, you won't be handicapped by it. You won't feel like you need to become a shell of yourself and go inside of yourself anymore, the way so many of us have. You won't feel like you need to settle for this man. Well, I guess I'll just, he's good enough. He's good enough. He doesn't see you. You know that he's more so, you just know the power that is there for you to do the work that you're here for. See, he's not the man. He's gonna be scared. Um, especially if, and this is a conversation to be had, especially if there is a man for you to create with and create deeply with, and he feels threatened by that. See, I'm not interested in any of the rules. It's just, it's not. It's just not. It doesn't work. It literally doesn't work. It literally is a prison, literally. And so, okay, now here, there's an application. If this is for you, if erotic is for you, or you think it may be for you, um, and there's another one of those fine nuances. There is another one of those fine nuances. So listen, let's have a conversation. Okay, one, if you already know erotic is for you, and this is the thing about your deep self knows, beneath your shadow, beneath your insecurities, beneath your fears and your doubts, and the thing that makes you put the brakes on something that you know for years and waste your life out of responsibility, and there's layers to that. I don't mean, listen, if you got bills to pay, you got bills to pay. I mean, multiple things can exist simultaneously. Taking care of responsibilities don't mean you don't also be the power, be in the relationship, do the things. You see? And then also, this is another conversation to be had. When you make, for example, I got married at 21. I said, what is it? Forever until death do us part. Whatever, you know how that goes. Till death and to the end, till we die, right? I said that devoid of who I was. So was it really about, could I really say that honestly? I said that devoid of knowing who I was. If I come to you and I say, let's say you was born and raised in Houston, Texas, and you ain't traveled nowhere, and I come to you and I say, where do you want to live in the world? First of all, I said, where do you want to live in the world? You can't really answer that because, well, you could answer it based on maybe pictures you've seen, etc. But you couldn't really answer that based on, you actually know because you've been there, because you actually know, right? There's a woman who, helps women, Stephanie Perry, go on sabbaticals and live abroad and everything. And she coaches them to try different cities, then pick the city you're going to live in. Travel to Portugal, travel to South Africa, travel to Paris, travel to Milan, travel to Mexico, then pick the place that you're going to stay. And then if I say, you make a vow that Houston will be your city for the rest of your life, and you commit that forever and ever for the rest of your life, Houston is going to be your city, and you make that commitment. And then one day when you're 33, you travel to Portugal and you fall in love with Portugal. Then you go to this place and you fall in love here. You go to this place and you come back to Houston and you realize, wow, I know I said that I was going to be here in Portugal or in Houston for the rest of my life, but I was ignorant when I made that vow. I actually did not know, actually could not actually make that vow. I couldn't make that vow. But I did it because that's the system in place for me to make that. Now, okay, fine. You already said it. Well, you said it. You need to follow through on that, right? You listen. You can stay there. Stay. Of course you can. I made that vow. Keep your word. You said you was gonna stay married forever and ever. Keep your word. You stay there. Okay, that's what Carl Jung did. He did keep his word. He did stay there. And another rule was created there, transcendental. This woman who could not do what his woman did. His wife said it. I could not be what Tony is. I am not what Tony is. I could not be for him what Tony was for him. And I thank her tremendously for what she was for my husband. Tony would have meals with the family. His lover would have meals with the family on Sundays. It's all documented, well documented. He would go to Tony's house. People would know that he was there. His car would be in front. It was acceptable. See, it was a transcendental relationship. This is what I mean when you start going deep, deep, deep down into who you truly are and you respect it. Carl Jung was so in his work. Go study Carl Jung. You'll see it for yourself. He was so in his work. He wasn't trying to do his work. It wasn't like part-time kind of thing he was doing on the side while trying to be over here and be this. He was in his work. The work was the main thing. The family was like this thing that he stepped into and did as part of whatever. I still don't know how that even happened, right? But it also happened when he was younger, less conscious. Okay. And so as he came into consciousness and became more transcendental, he became so deeply intuitive and actually lived from his knowing, not from hopes and maybes and what society was saying. He actually lived from his knowing. Marie Louise von France said that Jung was the one who told her now is the time for her to get what ended up becoming a house that she had out in the mountains up on a hill. That had she got it a year later, the conditions would not have been right for her to get it. And she said Jung just knew intuitively that that was the time. And that's how he was. He was so in the work of the unconscious, so in the dream world, so in the unknown that you already know what's coming. Jung is the one who said man's psyche is to be studied because it is the origin of all coming evil. And it is true. Look the fuck around. Man's psyche is to be studied. Your psyche. I'm telling you, the way I see is because of how much I'm down in the unconscious. I went down over the summer into the unconscious because I could see that the more I want to operate at high functioning levels, the lower I got to go. The more I want to create, the lower I got to go. The more I want to be, the lower I got to go. In the unconscious, low down into the dark of the unconscious. The more you want to create out here, the lower you got to go. So going low, this respect that I'm talking about, this love that I'm talking about, and really like it's like it's such, it's just so deep down in there, as within, so without, as within, so without, and then it becomes transcendental. It becomes transcendental. That's the only way Jung could exist in that relationship and the harmony be there with him, his wife, Tony, and everybody who saw it happening. It can only exist on a transcendental frequency. If it was through force and this masculine force that men try to come with today with this, because I'm a man, because I'm a king, because it wouldn't work. And it could happen today if you're living in transcendental energy. In transcendental energy, the rules come out of. You don't force a rule. It's not like boom. Rules come out of existing in the dark. That's what the transcendental state produces, the rule. See, that's what I mean by no rules. And see, even you will come to hear like this. You will know like this. You see? This is why people get in line with me. It's not an ego getting in line. It's like being so one with, being so in. which happens as you really make it a habit. And you don't make it a habit of like, people try to get these New Year's uh we just talk about New Year's resolutions, and this year I'm gonna lose weight, and this is the year I'm gonna, right? And you try to like use your will to create a habit. When you're dealing down in the unconscious, you don't need will. It happens naturally. Things reveal themselves and the rule creates itself. When you're dealing in the unconscious and you really come into yourself truly, you just know. It just is. This is the kind of full power I'm talking about. I actually have a quote I came across maybe like 2 years ago, um, uh, like studying witchcraft and the spell world, and so many people, what I call elementary witches who uh, literally, and it's maybe it's not elementary to them. Maybe that's like high level for them, Um, the usage of casting spells in like imposing your will onto others, an attempt to impose your will in the form of a box, whatever you're using, the products that you use, right? They're innumerable, and creating oils and creating waters and candles and incense and casting energetic force onto other people. When you're in this unconscious work that I'm talking about and you're dealing in raw primal energy, you're dealing with the dream world, you're dealing down deep, deep into the fullness of who you are, which is everything, everything repressed, everything expressed, and all the multitude, the infinite layers in between, that is in you. When you deal in that, you don't need to cast worldly spells. They cast themselves. You come into a transcendental power where force is completely uninteresting to you. You don't need to force. It just is. And so then you don't need to the next thing, like me, and how much I just with my body and the loveliness that, because I've been looking at how I don't even think to take care of my body. It just, I do it natural. It's very, right. An example here of like the naturalness of it. This is what erotic is all about. It's boundless. So Pilates, I go to Pilates regularly, and the rule that they have is that you got to call the day before. The day before, 6 a.m. is the soonest you can call to put yourself on the list for class, because there are only 8 spots in class. And um, this me with my body, a big part of it came out of me doing this unconscious work over the summer. Okay. And remember, I did those videos by the pool. If you go back on the channel and look back over the summer, I was doing videos by the pool at the health club. And I completely, when I tell you, I just let myself go down low, even dealing with men, going down low with them to understand the male heart and the male experience, etc. And just in that space of going low, allowing myself to soften, dealing in the unconscious, this naturalness of caring for my body came out of that. I didn't say, okay, I'm getting my body together. I know I need to eat my greens. I know I need to work out more. I know I need to get my sun. This is my new year. I know I need it. It didn't come out of that. It came out of going low. You got to get down. You got to get, that's why I say purity is a dirty game. Magic is counterintuitive. Purity is a dirty game. The unconscious is dirty. Okay. It has everything in there that's repressed in you, that's repressed in the unconscious. And so instead of dealing with that, we come out here and we bully, we create war, we create cancel culture, we create attack, we create narcissism. Because we refuse to study the male, not the male, the psyche, because it is the origin of all evil. So with me going down into that, a natural coming up. And so now I go to the club 5 or more days a week naturally. And I love it. I spend so much time there. I saw my Pilates instructor yesterday, because I was supposed to see her, blah, blah, blah. I talked about it yesterday. And she was like, "Yeah, we'll do it on Tuesday. You're always here." Right? Because they always see me, you know? And so back to the Pilates. So we're supposed to call to get ourselves on the list. And I forgot to call because in my mind, I was already there. Literally, I show up to Pilates class, walk into class, sit my things down by the station, and I stand up and I say, I don't think I called to put myself on the list. And I say to Savin, am I on the list? She's like, no, you're not on the list. I was like, oh my God, in my mind, I was here. I was already here in my mind. This is how it works. So I couldn't stay in class, by the way, because class was full. But when I left, I was so delighted. And you know what I did? I went to the front desk. I said, hey, is there any other classes going on? Yeah, total body with Bonnie. I just went upstairs and did a total body workout. The point is, you go low down into the unconscious. But then what happens is you need the playground to do the dirty work. You need to go experience yourself being ugly, dirty, dealing with your shame. You want to have fun. You want to talk about kinky shit, right? All of the things where you got yourself boundaried, okay? But boundaries that you didn't place there, boundaries you didn't place there, you took them on because religion said so. You took them on because your mother told you that behavior is hoe behavior. You took it on because, well, you're a mom, because you took it on because you're over 40 when you're over 40. You took it on because black women, that makes black women like this. Oh Lord, the burdens, the psychic burdens that have been put on black men and women. Erotic is a fun, boundless, transformational playground for you to work through all of that, for you to work through it all. True freedom, pure heart, true expression. Where it's like you speak without even thinking. But the thing about it is, see, that sounds foolish, doesn't it? Think before you speak. That's the teaching, right? Think before you speak. This is the beauty. When you exist truly down in the deepest realms of yourself. Now, to exist down in the deeper realms of yourself, that means you're totally willing, you're totally willing to interact with everything of you. As within, so without. What's going on down here will show up here. Your inner deep world and your out here real world. As within, so without. Down below shows up above. Okay? When you're really dealing down, there's a transcendental frequency that you tap into, because remember, the higher you want to go, the more you want to create, the more joy, fulfillment, everything, the lower you go. That puts you in a transcendental frequency. The more you do that, the more when you speak, the thinking is already done. You see the fuck I'm talking about? My God, the work that it takes. And the work is the real love up in here. It's the real love. Like truly. That gets you go beyond beating yourself up when you notice the wickedness in you. Most of us stop when we see the ugly. We stop when we see things we don't like. We stop when it's too much. But when you go past that, you keep going. We don't have time to waste here. We don't have time anymore. We don't have time anymore. I'm not interested in getting to the end of 2023 saying, I wish I would have did that. I knew I should have did that. I wasted another year. Well, I guess 2024 is my year. So oftentimes it takes pain to get us here. I know that. Normally it's something Something painful got to happen typically for us too. I mean, because the truth is, part of what had me really go down lower, and when I think about it, so many times when I have gone lower, is because something happened that hurt, that forced me to go inside more deeply. Something hurt, right? Something with a relationship, something with business, something with my body, something that the hurt forces you to reflect within. Okay. And it's the greatest work. It's the greatest thing. And so I'd like to have a conversation. Email me, help@naimasingletary.com. First of all, if you know erotic is for you, there's an application with this video. There's a link at the bottom of that page, because the top of the page is erotic confrontation, which is the 3 hour with me virtual one-on-one. Erotic confrontation, the year-long playground, that is at the bottom of that page. So you go scroll down, you click the link, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and you can submit your application. Okay. Um, if submitting, because maybe you click on it, it seems like a lot. It just energy. I'm talking energy, right? Because the only thing that, if you know this is for you, the only thing that will stop you is like the depth, the fear, the fullness of it all, because you know it's exactly for you, and you just feel scared around it. Let's talk. The talk is not to enroll you. The work does it by itself. I don't need to enroll you. There's no obligation. Don't feel like, well, I know I'm not gonna buy, so I'm not gonna schedule to talk with Naima, right? If you know this is for you, and you need to talk through some of what I've talked to here today, book a call with me. You book a call by emailing me, help@naimasingletary.com. Right now, I'm feeling so enriched. I'm feeling so grateful. I'm feeling so calm, yet stern in my self responsibility and my self love and my knowingness and my commitment to really holding the fort for women like us. We are not respected in this world. We are not valued or seen by the larger world. I accept that. But I also accept is my responsibility to hold it for us, to hold it for me first. And in that, whoever chooses to also stand for themselves, that you will either come into erotic or you will go forth and do the thing that you know that you are called to do. Be who you know that you are called to be. Okay? Hi, Kim. I'm out of here. Happy New Year's. It's December 31st, 2022. I do expect to be here tomorrow. January 1st, 2023. Lots of love.